Normal service will almost certainly resume next week, but this video is an unfiltered rant because I'm wound up. Guys, it's Matt. I am a compulsive gambler in recovery and I'm your mind and movement mentor here to help you. So I'm disproportionately annoyed and frustrated, and I can't work out if I'm more than I should be. But Thierry Henry, my favourite ever Premier League player, and in my opinion, the greatest ever Premier League player, is now global ambassador for Betway Gambling Company. And it feels to me like he is too elite level for this kind of move. And this is just further normalising gambling. And I mean, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm not sure if this is just because I'm a compulsive gambler and my brain's reticular activation system, which is what you selectively focus on, feels like gambling is just getting so much worse. But everywhere I look, it just seems like gambling is a complete zero-sum game that is doing more harm than good. And I say, maybe that's just the circles that I'm in. But are there actually people out there that would be furious if gambling came to an end because they just love their accumulator each week and it's just so much fun for them and they're just so protected from any of the sinister side of it that I've just constantly fallen foul of? I would really genuinely like to know. I think all this when the fun stops is just a little bit lip service now. And with a player of that magnitude and that quality, I mean, prime Henry, when he just used to fly past people. I grew up watching the Arsenal Invincibles, you know, when he gets the ball, the flick, the turn, the lob of the ball over Barthez, you know, the classic iconic Premier League goals. It's just like, not you as well, not you. You're too elite athletic prowess in a different category that's not going to get pulled into a move like this. They've obviously paid him a fortune for his image rights and to be on a few adverts and that kind of thing, but I would question his personal integrity when you look at the links of gambling and you look at the problems that gambling causes. You know, it is common knowledge that gambling shops, bookmakers are clustered in more deprived areas than, you know, you go to Richmond, you know, you might see one bookmaker. You go to Glasgow, you know, not certain parts of Manchester, certain parts of London, you're going to see loads of them, no disrespect to those places. And I don't know where we go from here. I really do not know where we go from here if this is just going to keep building, because like I say, gambling is a zero-sum game. No one wins. I remember when I went on the run of all runs with Virgin Bet, I could not get them off the phone. They were calling me and wanted to know everything about me, and it just felt that at some point I was not going to be able to continue to win, or I was going to have to respect the universal law that they are a business model. And actually what you do here is you give us your money, we don't give you ours. And shock, as a compulsive gambler, I ended up losing it all shortly after and a hell of a lot more. But you know, and some people make the argument that a certain number of Betfair customers, you know, make profit each year, and everyone's got a friend of a friend of a friend who's a professional gambler and makes money. But for the most part, it is destruction, and it is almost like a decay on society that is just going exponential these days. You know, you can't have the TV on after 9, 10 o'clock on certain channels without constant roulette advertising. The gambling on the smartphones, obviously I've spoken about in other videos, the ease of access, the things like the reversal of deposits, so you can take the money out and then, oh, actually, no, I don't want to withdraw it, I want to keep it and keep playing. The incentivized bonuses, you know, that you can't put a football match on without live betting odds on the shirts going around the edge of the ground. And then someone like this, an absolute football god, in my opinion, a real icon, just kind of goes into this area, which is just this sinister, torrid space of gambling. And I just don't think it's good. I'm furious at him as an individual, as someone I idolise and totally love. And like I said, I can't work it out whether it's my cross to bear that I am the compulsive gambler and I am in the minority. And actually, like I said, this is genuinely not a loaded argument. I want to know that if there are legions of people out there that actually, yeah, Henri now does Betway and they've got a new spend 50 quid, get 50 quid matched bet. How brilliant's that? Maybe there are literally people like that that are having a great time of gambling. It's a huge source of entertainment for them. But I just don't see it. And the more I publish content, the more I speak to people, it just feels that the trajectory is so alarmingly going the wrong way. You know, you go into a bookmaker's on the high street and most of the people there look like they've been there all day. They couldn't stop if they tried. And they're like part of the furniture in there, just about keeping the shop alive because they're just giving a percentage of their wages over each month. And yeah, like if I'm wrong and there's people that are loving gambling, it's a great thing to do. It's their hobby. They get off on, because I used to get off on it. I used to get off on looking at statistics, on looking at team news, but that was because I was getting such a buzz off it. It was the addiction. And I feel like there's more of a fine line than ever of someone that really enjoys that side of it. And it's almost like a steeper tipping point that's almost like they're enjoying it, now they're in trouble. Whereas in the past, it might have been a longer chain of, I do a football accumulator every week and I do the Grand National. And that's the way it's been for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Now it's like, it's alerts for arcade offers on your phone. You can do it in the toilet. Everyone has even a non-compulsive gambler has probably had an experience of when they gambled more than they wanted to because they got caught up in the moment. And what often people do then is they have a hard stop and they're like, no, that's not for me. Sadly, that wasn't for me, and I kept going for a quarter of a century. But who are these people in between that are just, for the most part, losing money but having a great time doing it? I genuinely want to know, because the argument, I suppose, is that someone like him is catering for those people to get more of them involved, and so everyone's having a good time. And I say, in my world, that is just not the case. And I really do not know where we go from here, because the number of people that have reached out to the charitable organisations like Gordon Moody is off the charts. They've got a crazy waiting list for people that have reached out that are kind of struggling, that need a help for gambling related harm. The betting companies are supposed to give 1% of their profits to things like that, but because there's so many of them now making so much money, some of them are offshoring to different places to get round GamStop and to kind of get round tax regulations and that kind of thing. Maybe there's a club that I'm just not privy to, and I simply, for me as a compulsive gambler, I just couldn't separate the two, and that's my problem and that's my fault. And there's millions or loads of people that can, and they don't want it to change. But for me as a compulsive gambler, the more I see it normalised, the more alarmed I get. And it's not even from I'm going to go and bet with Betway now because Henri's on the poster. That's never going to be. I will have my own cause and effect for potential relapse, and I'm staying proactive in my recovery. And I've spoke about that in other videos, what that might look like for me. I'm not going to suddenly be like, oh my God, I've just got to bet with them because he's on the poster. But there's obviously a thinking behind the profile raising, the normalisation of it. And the more this happens, the more bad is done than good. I think the lady that runs Bet365, whatever her name is, was like the highest paid female in the whole of the country, I think, with some crazy salary. The profits that have been making are extreme. So rant over. I feel better for getting that off my chest. And like I said, I am open to comments and the other side of the argument, because I realise that I do have an incredible bias as a compulsive gambler. But to me, it just seems like the pool of people that are having fun is shrinking by the day, contrasted to the number of problem gamblers. And unless we're going to address the zero-sum game nature of gambling, the higher profile the endorsements, the more we are just throwing logs on fire to fuel the flames of problems down the road. So there you have it. Back to more constructive recovery-based topic next week, I'm sure. Thanks for watching. Love to hear your comments on this one. I really, really would, because I know probably a large percentage of my audience are people that struggle. Hopefully this video will reach some other people who's maybe that's not the case, and we can get more of a balanced view and perhaps some debate going on. But thanks so much for watching again. Please help me reach more people by subscribing if you like the content. If you can share this video with people that find this topic useful. I'm very, very passionate about imparting wisdom onto people so they don't take the same road that I went. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video very soon.